This research project is regarding simulation-based medical device tutoring system. The research question that we're trying to answer here is how do we enhance simulation-based medical device tutoring methods to improve medical professionals' expertise with clinical devices? Medical devices expand into complex instruments over time, and they can be very difficult to operate proficiently and operate in a short period of time, which reduces the ability to react effectively in medical scenarios and also requires a more in-depth knowledge base from the medical community. So the research project here is trying to explore and enhance the method of simulation-based medical device tutoring through case-based research applications and design-based research, where we look into various learning ability principles and curriculum analyses that can work with simulation-based tutors. These methods may be collaboratively utilized for further enhancement of a holistic methodology that not only captures realistic contextual information, but also improves the experience overall for training purposes. There are several related work and products that apply to our research question at hand. The first one is a patent that consists of a computer unit with hardware and display that runs training software in order to teach about basic medical concepts and medical devices. The second one is called SimCore, which has a variety of scenarios built into an intelligent tutoring system that guides students during performing a medical procedure in their reactions and capability to effectively assist patients. Cognitive simulators are more of a proof of concept framework in which they explore the importance of cognition while performing surgeries, looking to improve surgeons' multitasking abilities in real-life scenarios. The next three are more specific products that are commonly used for those purposes. AngioMentor, for example, comprises of multiple portable modules that can be manipulated by trainees in real time to learn angiographic medical procedures. Endoscopy VR is a surgical simulator that consists of various simulations combined into one device and responds with haptic feedback when the trainee performs procedures on it. Lab Mentor is used to train students through realistic visuals and non-anatomical modules and it's used to teach isolated tasks about abdominal surgical procedures. This section covers research methods and data collected to support those principles. Communities of practice is a pedagogy in which the student is able to learn from their environment and situations and contribute to their surroundings at the same time, while being surrounded by experts who will provide the opportunity to increment their knowledge base. Problem-based learning demonstrates a self-directed principle that relies on the student to learn from their own experiences and participate in issues in which they will need to learn the knowledge required to solve that problem. The combination of case-based study and problem-based research, problem-based learning presents a strong foundation for students to improve, adjust existing skills without losing the value of information already. In order to support these research methods, we conducted surveys and interviews. Surveys and interviews serve as an efficient way to gather massive amount of data from participants while investigating their thoughts. They allow us to better design a methodology that suits users' needs. Data obtained through surveys and interviews is used to determine the need for and acceptance of simulated training in the medical community. The surveys would gather knowledge about constrictions simulated-based tutors must endure in a realistic clinical setting based off of the general public's opinions and feedback, while interviews gather knowledge about need for them in context from medical community point of view. Case study research targets instances in which there would be contextual analyses performed in real-life conditions and validation of causal factors in the phenomena. Data obtained for case study research applications within this project will be based on identifying and justifying data analysis methods to measure performance, proficiency, and retention of using simulation-based medical device tutors. Design-based research introduces constructive research applications to real-world applications, thus building that collaboration between effective designs and basic understanding of the application and bridging the gap among research, design, goals, and common practices. Data obtained for the design-based research application in this project will be based on identifying and justifying curriculum formation and construction methods. We want to identify the most appropriate curriculum formation methods to be employed by simulation-based tutor because the teaching techniques are extremely valuable for high transfer of skills. In order to really enhance the simulation-based tutoring for medical device training, the factors mentioned in this section must be achieved so that a well-rounded analysis is performed for establishing each teaching technique, learning content, and usability of the tutor. The survey was asynchronously conducted on 78 randomly selected participants. The feedback from the participants shows that there are instances that the patient experience which could lead to negative impact in their health care. This highlights the need in improving medical professionals' level of expertise with using devices properly and precisely. Based on the medical professionals' interview results, which we conducted on the list of professionals listed here, an appreciation for having improved training methods are expressed. The medical professionals interviewed positively indicated acceptance of incorporating simulated training devices that taught them how to use medical devices normally during their jobs. The purpose of the data analysis for case study research is to choose the best method to precisely measure learning ability through using a simulation-based tutor. Learning ability is defined collaboratively through performance, proficiency, and retention metrics. These metrics collectively analyze cause and effect, where cause would be the factor of content learned by using simulation device, and effect would be the impact of the content learned. In order to understand the level of experience gained over time, we look into learning curve for performance for each individual. The level of experience here would be a measure of amount of content or skills learned in operating a device. The validation effort represented by learning curves is not sufficient for understanding the student's complete learning abilities on a simulated tutor. So in order to further generalize individual skill acquisition, we must explore methods such as automated performance record and event-based measurement. Automated performance record measures performance with emphasis on multiple variables present during training sessions. This method requires continuous monitoring to really comprehend the skill set and performance of the student. Event-based measurement method targets team performance with emphasis on individual performances contributing to the team effort. Team performance is really important in the medical community, as we also noticed in interview results. Under proficiency, we have trial-based expert performance capacity, in which we have the proficiency measurement for a student would be verified against expert performance capacity, which is a mean of multiple trial performance levels of individuals who are very experienced in performing that certain procedure on the medical device. Simulation trained group versus control group is taking into consideration a large control group sample in which the control group represents the proficiency level that is trying to be obtained by participants in the simulation trained group. Proficiency level is determined by experts' procedure performance outcome on standardized procedures. Under retention, we have repetition-based tests. In a repetition-based test method, retention is measured based on performance during repetitions of tasks right after proficiency is achieved, compared with the follow-up performance test after a period of time. Under retention rate curves, we're looking at 3 different types of graphs. For each curve, the independent variable is time measured, with these instances taken into account: pre-training, post-training immediate, and post-training future. Post-training future could be anywhere from 1 week to 1 month after the training takes place. One main takeaway from both retention measurement methods is that a significant decay in skills knowledge will result after a long period of time. In order to choose the best performance, proficiency, and retention measurement methods, Under this case study data collection, we develop selection criteria. If we're looking at one or two variables that contribute to the individual's learning, we look at individual learning curves. If we look at multiple variables or experiences that contribute, we look at automated performance record. If we're looking for performance of groups, then we use event-based performance record. Under proficiency, if we're looking at an individual's proficiency levels, we use trial-based expert performance capacity. If we're looking at a group's proficiency level, we can use simulation trained group versus control group. Under retention, if we want to look at performance at different points of time, we would use the repetition-based tests. And if we're looking at, multiple number of steps and amount of time that it takes to keep knowledge or to retrieve knowledge, then we can look at retention rate curves. The purpose of data analysis for design-based research is to construct the most effective curriculum to enhance training experience while medical professionals use a simulation-based tutor specific for medical device training. Curriculum effectiveness is defined precisely by the usability metric. Usability is the extent of which the curriculum can be used by the individual to accomplish their goals and objectives while performing a particular procedure on the medical device. We will specifically look into three curriculums: knowledge-centered, learner-centered, and problem-centered. Knowledge-centered curriculum is also commonly known as subject-centered curriculum. In this curriculum, students are expected to become subject matter experts. This curriculum will be usable for the purposes of simulated-based tutoring because we will be able to use the well-defined structure of subjects to distribute procedural content of medical devices. Less complex procedures are taught before more complex, and the order to teach the procedures are based on a logical sequence of prerequisite fulfillment. Learner-centered curriculum allows the student to participate in their own learning experiences and leverage them into the curriculum content. Students may shape the curriculum based on their learnings from issues-based and contextual references. The curriculum will be usable for the purposes of simulation-based tutoring because we will be able to use the customization of curriculums to cater to individuals' needs. Some students may not need to improve the same concepts as other students, so it would not make as much sense for them to focus a lot of time on those concepts. Problem-centered curriculum is developed in the context of problem-based learning approaches. This curriculum will be usable for simulated-based tutoring because we will be able to test students on their event-based performance. This curriculum also illuminates the importance of teamwork, which is highly important in hospital real-life scenarios. So that concludes the research work established for the study of simulation-based tutoring for medical device training. We looked at user data that shows acceptance and need for simulation-based training for medical devices. Under case study research principles, we looked at measurement methods to increase learnability via performance, proficiency, and retention metrics. And for design-based study principles, we looked at curriculums that exemplify real-life scenarios to enhance students' learning experiences. Future work that we would recommend would be a more data-driven groundwork for curriculum analysis that proves the customizations mentioned in the study support the learnability metrics mentioned under the case study analysis. Furthermore, a collaboration among intelligent tutoring systems, virtual reality, and simulation-based tutoring system would also be something that a future work could be established around the research performed here. We can think of using intelligent tutoring systems to form the backbone in which these simulations would be integrated. And virtual reality and agent-based simulations would be supporting the simulations and be leveraged to portray the details that would form the backbone of the intelligent Turing system. So thanks for listening to this research project presentation, and hope you enjoy the topic and follow up on this research going forward. Thank you.